What is possibly the most worrying thing about space? Realizing how much we don't understand. It's also scary to know we still don't know everything in our oceans. You know. I always hear that saying. We know more about space than we do about our ocean, and I find it hard to believe. Not because exploring ours is a feat not easily tackled due to pressure and various other factors, but that there almost certainly is another planet out there with oceans thousands of times deeper, making it exponentially harder to explore. Wouldn't we know even less about that? Yay, I always hated that saying because it's just hilariously false. We don't even know a lot about our solar system, let alone the entirety of space. We still don't know what's under the ice of Europa, or if Mars ever had life, or where each comet and dwarf planet is located, and so many more things. And these are the closest things to us in space. We know infinitely more about our oceans than about space. Well, I think it was a misquoted fact. We know more about the surface of Mars than the depths of our oceans. How freaking big it is. Our solar system's outskirts push within range of just under 1 light year. We can't travel remotely close to the speed of light. Our nearest neighbor star is Proxima Centauri and approximately 4.3 light years away. We are something like 25,000 Li away from the center of our galaxy. One of billions. The closest galaxy to us, Andromeda, is several million light-years away. Now go back a step. There are billions and billions, say it like Carl Sagan, of galaxies out there. Each with at least hundreds of millions of stars. Many with billions of stars. Some even with trillions. Andromeda has approximately 1 stars. And we can't even get remotely close to out of our own solar system with a manned vessel, and our understanding of physics makes it nearly impossible to do so. TLDR, space is really damn big. Actually, that number has changed in the past couple years. The current estimates are that there are over 2 trillion galaxies in the known universe. And possibly more. I heard Brian Cox discuss it in a lecture last year. Brian Greene has also commented on it. I mention this because the difference between the previously thought 200 billion galaxies and 2 trillion galaxies is itself absolutely mind-boggling. It would be strange if we were the only life in 2 trillion galaxies. The math on that? Yeah, pretty unlikely emo. 2 trillion is beyond our physical ability to even comprehend. Getting lost. You can't even navigate by the stars at that point. Yes, you can. Relative positioning against fixed objects. I've always been a little concerned by the possibility of a gamma-ray burst. Fortunately, if I understand it correctly, the odds of one ever intersecting our solar system with such precision that it hits Earth are astronomically low. No pun intended. As far as we can tell, there aren't really any GRB-producing candidates within a sufficient radius of Earth to cause life-ending results. Have you seen the size of that thing? It's fucking huge. That's what she said. It's entirely possible that space is full of vampires because all telescopes have mirrors. Except refractor telescopes. Conclusion: vampires exist beyond the level of resolution as the best refractor telescopes. 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Arthur C. Clarke. The Fermi paradox has a lot of interesting hypotheses at why we haven't heard from any extraterrestrials. I am leaning more and more towards us being early risers. I've always found that ideas as well as the great filters to be the most compelling. So many steps need to be taken before becoming a spacefaring species. From evolving to multi-celled life to having the intelligence and capability to use tools. All while avoiding extinction from any number of natural disasters. I agree. One example here on Earth is octopi have similar levels of intelligence as humans. But they aren't developed as us because they can't make tools or cook food in the ocean. Asteroids could wipe us out at any moment. While this is possible, astronomers have gotten good at predicting where asteroids are headed. If an asteroid is going to destroy the Earth, we could know years or even decades ahead of time. Despite NASA's attempts at detecting and cataloging near-Earth objects for the last decade, there are inevitably ones that are discovered after the fact. Such as the car-sized asteroid that passed by the Earth within 2,000 miles just last week. False vacuum. Forget gamma-ray bursts. The false vacuum is scarier. I haven't actually heard of this before. What exactly is it, because I'm interested? It's also called vacuum decay. As far as I know, it's a theoretical possibility based on the current understanding on physics, where a certain kind of particle can be catapulted into a different, previously not reachable, stable energy level. In this state, it would be incompatible with the way matter exists in the universe, and it would cause a chain reaction expanding through the universe at light speed, making all matter within that bubble disintegrate instantly. The good news is, it's only theoretical. The bad news is, we can't tell whether it's actually possible or not, because it cannot be detected before contact due to its expansion speed. If most people thought about how mind-numbingly big the universe is, they would probably go insane. We're one insignificant planet residing basically in the suburbs on the outskirts of our galaxy, and the possibility of life other than us. Personally, I don't think we would be seeing any scary aliens, such as greys, but more of bacteria and microorganisms that have adapted to their ecosystems. It would be cool and terrifying to find a whole new ecosystem near us. I'm not so sure. Just look at the ocean and the crazy species we constantly find there. We might not find sentient beings, but it is definitely possible that very strange life forms exist on other planets. We had giant reptiles running around Earth just 64 years ago. That is a blink of an eye in the context of the history of our galaxy, let alone universe. And possibly universes. There could be an entire social system that we aren't yet a part of. At some point, another species could show up, assuming that we saw the bulletin posted at the hub, and give us mere minutes to evacuate before wiping us out of existence. That's why you always pack a towel. The massive distances involved, at least early in the age of space exploration. You get stranded somehow and you're finished. Something breaks down, you're finished. You might as well be a medieval Viking at sea in 1139 as far as the level of rescue attempt you can expect. Also, dark matter is probably the single most mysterious thing in space. I think it's even less understood than black holes. We don't even know if it fucking exists. Read the Wikipedia page for dark matter. It's, no pun intended, illuminating. That our sun is a little dwarf compared to other stars in other galaxies. Not really. While there are stars much larger than the sun, there's far more stars of a similar size to the sun than super large ones that we know of. We can see the big ones. If anything, we are underestimating the number of small ones. The Fermi paradox and the Great Filter. Basically, given the age of the universe, the number of stars, the possibility of life arising on any given planet, and the distances involved, we should be seeing evidence of alien life everywhere. Even one slightly advanced civilization would only need 2 million years or so to fully colonize the Milky Way at speeds not much faster than we can currently attain. To put that in perspective, Earth has existed for 54 billion years. The galaxy 13.6 billion years. The best estimates, using the Drake equation, put the number of current advanced civilizations in the Milky Way at 36. Again, we should be seeing evidence of life everywhere. We are not, which leads us to the uncomfortable conclusion that something is stopping intelligent life spreading across the stars. This something is called the Great Filter, and it is completely unknown. It could be that intelligent life is really improbable, and therefore we have already overcome it just by being here. Or it could be in our future, waiting to swat us like insects. Or that intelligent life has the technology to destroy itself. So they ultimately do. Death by acceleration. Eventually, we will send a large ball of garbage into space, then inevitably be hit by it. This is a Star Trek episode. Massive barge of radioactive waste drifts near a planet and starts doing serious damage. How on the verge of destruction it constantly is. Our galaxy may fizzle out and burn before we get a chance to really get out there. I read something here on Reddit, but it was years ago. Basically, there is no guarantee of the possibility of tomorrow, because we could be wiped out instantly. I think it was referring to rays from space that could just obliterate us. Most likely talking about gamma-ray bursts. I know that in the mid-2000s there were a bunch of documentaries that discussed them. but painted the picture of total human destruction basically immediately. Just some cursory investigating after the fact suggests that it's extremely unlikely one ever hits Earth. Space is fucking huge, and that if one did hit Earth, it depends entirely on the intensity of the burst itself. Even then, discussing the effects are kind of problematic because, as far as I know, we haven't been hit by one during the Holocene. How utterly inhospitable it is. Unlike the explorers of Earth's past, who, while not really knowing what they might find, could always depend on at least being able to breathe, space explorers can't. Outside of their small spacecrafts is an environment utterly hostile to any form of life that we know of. The lack of oxygen, the hard radiation, the radical changes in temperature from near absolute zero in the shadow to hundreds of degrees in full light of the sun. The vacuum trying to evaporate and disperse all gases and liquids in your body, etc. For the explorers to survive, they have to bring everything with them. Food, water, even air, all have to be packed in with them in their tiny ships. And once it is gone, that's it. There's no way of getting more before you get back home. The smallest change in your flight trajectory could have you dying of starvation and thirst months or years before anyone could even begin to attempt a rescue or recovery. Being ejected from your vessel somehow, and just floating in the great expanse while waiting for your oxygen to run out. That's what the cyanide capsule is for. The fact that because of universal expansion everything but our own supercluster will become so far away that it will disappear forever. Civilizations of the distant future will have no way of knowing that there is a larger universe out there. We are perhaps living in a rare time period when it is possible to detect the larger universe. Makes you wonder what it is we're missing. I think the fact that the universe is expanding, but no one really has explained what it is expanding into. Also, black holes. As ants on the surface of an inflating balloon move away from each other, so too do the galaxies in the universe. Thought it is not the surface of a balloon that is stretching, but the fabric of space-time. See, when they say space is expanding, it is not the boundary to our universe that is, but the universe itself.